Since AI slop has been taking over the internet lately, I figure it's our turn to contribute to the Matrix. In this episode, we'll be using Cursor AI to develop our own game, publish it to our website, and most importantly, include our performer's character in it. Let's hop in. Now, the goal for this game was to make something that centers around mental health. I find too often in video games nowadays, they're either fighting for your attention or trying to onboard you into a gambling addiction. So for this one, I wanted to take this little test and prototype and see if we could bring some more positive affirmations into people's lives. Now, before we begin, I want to forewarn, all this footage is from the end of October and early November of 2024. So the AI has gotten exponentially better since then, and even my prompting and stuff has gotten a lot better. But out of all the prototypes and tests I built with AI so far, this is still one of my favorites, and I think it's a good example of showing how you can keep intentionality in this, new era of digital age. Now, this all started with a single tweet. What would a game revolving around mental health look like? And my homie JP came up with this brilliant idea. Any button you press just pops up a speech bubble telling you you're okay and you'll be fine. And that's all the fuel on the fire I need. Now, I don't have footage of my initial prompt, but it probably went something like this. I want to make a game about positive affirmations. Balloons fly up in the air. When you click the balloon and pop it, an affirmation pops up. And as you see, the first take in the one shot of that AI was pretty close. We see it put a little emoji at the bottom of our screen for the character. All these little bubbles with different affirmations are floating. But obviously, this is very far off from what my vision is, so let's hop in and refine it. So the first thing I wanted to do was hide the affirmation so you don't know what it is until it pops a bubble. And it worked there, but now it's not displaying it. So for this next pass, I had it A, change the shape of the circles to balloons, and then B, once you pop the balloon, it's displaying the affirmations. And this is like 50-75% of the game within less than 3 or 5 prompts. From here, it's mainly styling, branding, and quality of life improvements. But let's keep going. Next, you'll see me dig through the files and pull out a static image of one of our performers. This is performer 0. They're kind of like the head performer here at the circus. And as you see, it got the static image perfect. So now I want to upgrade the background. I'm not a fan of the blue background. It feels like a sky, but we need clouds and our iconic green. Throw it in there, boom. And after a few minor tweaks to the background, we can go ahead and move on to our player box and our score counter, make that look all on brand and presentable. Now the balloons kind of look out of place since our character is pixel art. So I dug into my assets, and I remember I had these balloon assets from literally the first game I ever tried to make in Godot, like the very first prototype. So I took those and kind of recolored them. It made it more on brand for me, and I'll include that asset pack here. And also, we got our balloons in the game, so now that we're done drawing, let's import those. Beautiful. Next, we can move on to actually making our character move. The static image looks great, but we have these idle animations. We might as well put them to work. As you see, I imported the sprite sheet into here, and it struggled at first. You could see the frames are a little bit off as it's trying to calculate everything, but eventually it locks everything in. And now that our one sprite sheet is in place, we could just replace that image with any performer we want, and it's gonna line up perfectly. So now let's add a way for you to switch between these characters. I want any performer logging on to be able to play as their character. So let's make a character select screen. Boom. First take was pretty good, but let's lock in with the branding. Now that our character selector is in place, let's dive a little bit deeper. I want to add some customization options, let people change the background, let people change the balloons. I added these ghosts and these clouds if you like a different vibe. And then also some different soundtracks. I don't want you to be stuck with one song. Let's add a few to circus hits in there. Beautiful. We got a nice little customization option going. As you can see, these are some of the different combinations and stuff. And last thing I want to implement here, which ended up being controversial down the line, but we'll get to that, is a leaderboard. So I made it so you can log in, type in your email, your password, that'll get you an account, and basically have a leaderboard of who's popped the most balloons and who had the most scores. But when I released this back in November and kind of put out the initial prototype, the best feedback I got was the scoreboard was kind of counterintuitive to the mental health thing. We created this game in the first place to make a thing around mental health, and I think we achieved that with the gameplay mechanics of the game. But by having a leaderboard in here, it creates this sense of FOMO that I was trying to run away with. So for our final iteration here, when we updated it with our latest performers, I took the leaderboard out, I took the login system out, and now we've achieved the final version of this game. As casual as possible, log on pop.theperformers.com. If you just want something to vibe out and play in the background, listen to the tunes, get a couple affirmations, just get a daily boost for your day. Or even if you just want to scroll through some of the different performers in action, this is live. You can do it from mobile, desktop, whatever your device. And yeah, so that's about it. This is our first test with Cursor AI. As you know, there's room for all type of shows here at the circus, so we're leaving no stone unturned. This will be the start of a 3-part series of random tests I did with Cursor AI, and then we'll get into some devlogs of our bigger games. I appreciate you guys for watching. This is the circus, not the circus. Catch you next week.